What if I told you that one of the most overlooked coins of the late 20th century made a surprise return at the end of the millennium, and that this unexpected comeback turned it into one of the most collectible modern dollar coins? Today, the 1999 Susan B. Anthony dollar was never supposed to happen. Its story is filled with twists, moments of necessity, and even mistakes that have made some examples worth far more than face value. If you stay with me until the end of this video, you will discover how much these coins are selling for on different platforms and auctions today, and why this coin, which many dismissed decades ago, is suddenly so important to collectors. The Susan B. Anthony dollar had a rough start when it was first introduced in 1979. The idea was forward-thinking because for the first time in United States history, a real historical woman appeared on a circulating coin. Anthony had been a tireless advocate for women's rights and the suffrage movement, so her portrait on the dollar was a tribute to progress and equality. The reverse was just as symbolic, showing the Apollo 11 lunar module with an eagle landing on the moon, a design borrowed from the Eisenhower dollar that celebrated the greatest achievement of modern exploration. On paper, it was a historic and meaningful coin. In practice, however, the public was not impressed. The coin was small, about the size of a quarter, and silver in color, which led to endless confusion in daily use. People found themselves handing out dollars when they thought they were spending quarters, and the coin quickly earned a reputation for being inconvenient. By 1981, production had ended, and the Anthony dollar was declared a failure. For nearly 2 decades, no one thought they would ever see it again. Then in 1999, something unusual happened. The nation was running low on dollar coins. Vending machines, transit systems, and other services that relied on them were demanding more supply, and the Sacagawea golden dollar, planned for release in 2000, was not ready yet. Faced with this problem, the United States Mint turned back to the Susan B. Anthony dollar. For one last time, it would be struck and placed into circulation. This was never meant to be a revival of the series. It was a temporary solution to fill the gap until the new dollar coin was ready. That brief moment is what makes the 1999 issue so fascinating. Production was handled at 2 mints. Philadelphia produced nearly 30 million pieces, and Denver produced a little over 11 million. Compared to the hundreds of millions made in 1979, these numbers are tiny, and that scarcity has given the 1999 issues a boost in collectability. They are the lowest mintage circulation strikes of the entire series, and the fact that they were the last ever produced makes them stand apart. Visually, the coin remained unchanged. The obverse still carried Anthony's determined portrait framed by stars and the word liberty, while the reverse still displayed the moon landing with the eagle in descent. But if you hold a coin dated 1999, you are holding the closing chapter of a controversial series. This is the farewell to the first woman on a circulating coin, and at the same time the coin that passed the torch to Sacagawea. The proofs of 1999 are especially interesting. Struck only in Philadelphia, they were produced in small numbers for collectors and sold as part of special sets. Unlike circulation coins, proofs display flawless detail with polished mirror fields and frosted devices. These are not just coins, they are miniature works of art. Being the final proof issue of the series, they have become must-haves for dedicated collectors who want to complete the set. Now, we come to one of the most exciting parts of the 1999 story, and that is the world of minting errors. Every coin collector dreams of finding a mistake, because errors are usually far scarcer and often bring impressive prices. In 1999, several notable errors were recorded. One is the wide rim variety, which shows a larger gap between the date and the rim, making it easily identifiable to the naked eye. Another is the off-center strike, where part of the design is missing because the blank was not properly aligned in the press. There are also double-struck coins, where the design was impressed twice, creating a dramatic ghost-like effect. But the most remarkable error is something that almost seems like science fiction. A few Susan B. Anthony dollars were accidentally struck on Sacagawea plankets, the golden-colored blanks intended for the next year's design. Imagine holding a coin that shows Anthony's portrait but shines with the golden hue of Sacagawea. These are incredibly rare, and when they surface at auction, they command jaw-dropping prices, sometimes exceeding several $1,000s. *4. Collectors today, the 1999 Susan B. Anthony dollar carries weight, not just for its rarity, but also for its symbolism. It represents a moment of transition, a bridge between two designs, and a farewell to a coin that never fully succeeded in daily life, but later gained a second life in collections. Many people who dismissed the coin in 1979 now look back on it with nostalgia. In hindsight, the Anthony dollar was ahead of its time. It paved the way for future designs honoring real historical figures, and women in particular. This coin also demonstrates how quickly public opinion can change. Once considered a failure, the Anthony dollar has become a collectible worth hunting. 4. The 1999 issue in particular draws attention because it exists in far smaller numbers than the earlier dates and marks the definitive end of the series. For that reason, even casual collectors often seek out at least one example for their albums or display cases. Now we come to the part you have been waiting for. How much is a 1999 Susan B. Anthony dollar actually worth today? The answer depends on condition, mint mark, and whether the coin is a proof or an error. Circulated pieces are worth more than face value, but not by much, and they usually sell for a couple of dollars. High-grade mint state coins can climb significantly, especially those with the Denver mint mark, which tends to bring higher prices. Because of the lower mintage, proof coins can sell for strong premiums, with top-graded examples bringing in impressive figures. Error coins are where things become truly exciting, with values ranging from dozens of dollars to hundreds and in some cases thousands at major auctions. The rare Sacagawea planchet era remains the star of the show and has been known to cross the block for over 7,000. These figures come from a mix of online platforms, dealer sales, and auction records, and they show what collectors are willing to pay today. So, if you own a 1999 Susan B. Anthony dollar, do not overlook it. It might be just a circulation strike, or it might be something more. If you want to know the exact value of your coin, whether it is from Philadelphia or Denver, whether it is a proof or possibly even an error, leave a comment with the details. Every coin tells its own story, and values change depending on grade and demand. By sharing what you have, you can get a clearer idea of just how much your piece might be worth. The 1999 Susan B. Anthony dollar is far more than a leftover coin from the past. It is a symbol of the year 1929 was one of the most important turning points in American history. It was the year of the great stock market crash that launched the country into the Great Depression. Millions of people struggled financially, and every cent truly counted. That makes the 1929 Lincoln wheat penny more than just a coin. It was a lifeline in the pockets of ordinary Americans. It bought bread, milk, and daily necessities at a time when survival was uncertain. Holding a 1929 penny today is like holding a piece of that turbulent history. The wheat penny design itself was still fairly new in 1929. It had first appeared in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Victor David Brenner designed the coin with Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and to simple wheat stalks on the reverse, symbolizing prosperity and growth. By 1929, Americans had already grown used to seeing Lincoln on their pennies, but the coin had not lost its symbolism. It was a tribute to a president remembered for guiding the country through its most difficult war, and now ironically it circulated during one of the most difficult economic crises. When it comes to mintage, the 1929 penny was struck at two locations. The Philadelphia mint produced the largest number, while the San Francisco produced a smaller amount, with the familiar S mint mark beneath the date. There was no Denver issue that year. Philadelphia struck well over 100 million coins, while San Francisco produced fewer than 50 million. Those numbers may sound large, but when you compare them to other years of the wheat cent series, you realize that the 1929 coins are moderately scarce, especially in higher grades. Millions were worn down in circulation during the hard times of the Depression, and relatively few survived in pristine condition. For collectors, the difference between the Philadelphia and San Francisco issues is important. The plain date Philadelphia coins are easier to find and more common in most grades. The S mint mark coins are scarcer and usually command more attention, especially when found in higher mint state condition. The 1929 wheat penny is also interesting for its connection to hoarding habits of the Depression. Many people began saving coins out of fear of banks collapsing and money losing value, while silver and gold coins were saved more aggressively. Even humble copper cents, like the 1929, were put away by families who wanted security in small change. As a result, some rolls of uncirculated 1929 cents survived, but they are much rarer than other years. Finding one of those bright red gems today is a thrill for any collector. Errors add another layer of intrigue. In 1929, the minting technology was not as advanced as it is today, so mistakes happened. Collectors occasionally find pennies from that year with off-center strikes where part of Lincoln's portrait or the wheat stalks are missing. There are also examples with die cracks, repunched mint marks on the San Francisco coins, or doubled features on the lettering. These errors are not extremely common, but when they appear, they create excitement among collectors and bring higher prices. The coin's historical setting also influences its appeal. Imagine the contrast of a penny minted in the same years. The stock market crash. This little copper piece passed from hand to hand, while fortunes collapsed and unemployment soared. Each coin carries the memory of that national hardship. For collectors today, the 1929 wheat penny is more than a number in a price guide. It is a tangible reminder of resilience in the face of economic disaster. As the decades passed, most 1929 pennies wore down to a smooth brown appearance. They continued to circulate through the Depression, through World War II, and well into the post-war years. By the time the design was replaced in 1959 with the Lincoln Memorial reverse, most of the 1929 pennies were already well worn or lost. That is why today collectors especially prize those examples that remain in high grade with strong detail, an original red or red-brown color. The market for these coins shows how condition changes everything. A worn penny from 1929 might still be worth only a small premium above face value, but as the grade improves, the price climbs quickly. Collectors will pay much more for examples that still have sharp wheat stalks, bold lettering, and original mint luster. The San Francisco mint pennies are even more desirable, and in mint state grades, they often attract competitive bidding at auctions. Now we come to the moment you have been waiting for. How much is a 1929 wheat penny actually worth today? Prices depend heavily on grade and mint mark. A heavily worn Philadelphia example might only sell for a few cents above face value, while nicer circulated coins can bring a couple of dollars. Mint state Philadelphia coins with bright red color can sell for significantly more, sometimes in the dozens of dollars, depending on the exact grade. The San Francisco coins usually carry stronger premiums. Circulated S mint pennies can sell for a few dollars, and mint state S examples can bring well over $50 or even $100 in the higher ranges. Error coins add even more excitement, with some off-center strikes or double dice selling for hundreds. These values are not random guesses. They come from different online platforms, dealers, and auction records where collectors actively buy and sell coins today. If you own a 1929 wheat penny, you might have a piece of history worth more than you realize. To know the exact price of your coin, whether it is a Philadelphia issue or a San Francisco issue, whether it is circulated or mint state, whether it shows an error or has brilliant red luster, leave a comment with the details. Every coin tells its own story, and only by comparing it to recent auction results can you know the precise value. The 1929 wheat penny is more than just a copper cent. It is a witness to the Great Depression, a symbol of Lincoln's enduring legacy, and for collectors, it can be a small but powerful treasure.